My name is Mark. I don't remember the last time I smiled. A few years ago, I had everything. A job in the city. A small apartment. Friends I could call. I even had someone I loved. But then, like a bad dream, everything started to fall apart. It started with my job. One morning, my boss called me into his office. He said the company was losing money. They had to let people go. I was one of them. Just like that, I was jobless. I walked out of the office holding a brown box with my things. My hands were shaking. I didn't know what to do next. At first, I told myself I would find something else quickly. I was sure. I had experience. I had skills. But weeks passed. Then months. I sent out my resume to every company I could find. No one called back. My money slowly disappeared. I stopped going out. I stopped meeting people. I told my friends I was busy. The truth was I was ashamed. Then Sarah left. She said she couldn't watch me like this anymore. She said I wasn't the same person. I didn't speak. I didn't look at her. I didn't fight for anything. She was right. But that didn't make it hurt less. One morning, I woke up and I didn't get out of bed. I stared at the ceiling. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to shower. I didn't want to move. I stayed in bed the whole day. Then another. Then another. Time stopped. I don't remember how many days passed like that. My room smelled like old food and dirty clothes. My phone was full of missed calls. I didn't answer them. I didn't care anymore. It was like I was underwater, but still breathing. I was alive, but not living. I don't know why, but one day I opened my window. The sun hit my face. I squinted, like I hadn't seen light in a long time. Down on the street, I heard two men talking. I didn't understand the words. They were speaking English. Fast, sharp, with short sounds. I didn't know why, but I listened. I leaned closer to the window. I couldn't catch everything. Just small words. Morning. Coffee. Busy. That was all. But something moved inside me. I closed the window and sat on the bed. I thought about those two men. I thought about the way they talked, how free they sounded. I got up, slowly. I turned on my old laptop. I went to YouTube and typed English for Beginners. The first video was a woman saying, "Hello. My name is Anna. What's your name?" I laughed a little. I repeated her words. "Hello. My name is Mark." I sounded stupid. But I kept going. That was the first day. Just 5 minutes. The next day, I did 10. Then 15. I watched simple videos. I repeated after the speakers. I paused the video when I didn't understand something. I wrote the word. I looked it up. I listened again. I started to hear more. I started to understand more. A week passed. Then 2. I cleaned my room. I took a shower. I bought a small notebook. I wrote 5 new English words every day. Sometimes, I looked in the mirror and spoke to myself in English. I said things like, "I am learning. I will find a job. I can change." It was strange. But it helped. I still had no money. But I had a reason to get out of bed. I walked to the park every morning. I sat on a bench with my notebook. I listened to people talking. If someone spoke English, I listened harder. I whispered the words they said. One day, an old man sat next to me. He looked at my notebook. "Learning English?" he asked. I was surprised. I nodded. He smiled. "Good. Keep going. I learned English when I was 50. It changed my life." His words stayed with me. I kept studying. I started watching English movies with subtitles. I read easy books. I tried to write short stories in English. I made mistakes, but I didn't stop. Then, one evening, I saw a poster in the library. It said, "English speakers needed, customer service job. Must speak basic English." My heart beat fast. I wrote the phone number. I called. A woman answered. She asked me a few questions. I understood her. I answered slowly. She said, "Come in tomorrow for a short interview." I couldn't believe it. That night, I practiced how to introduce myself. I said, hello. My name is Mark. I want to work here. I like helping people. I said it again and again. The next morning, I wore my best shirt. I walked to the small office where the interview was. I was nervous. My hands were cold. But I smiled. The interview lasted 10 minutes. The woman said, "Your English is not perfect, but it's good. We like your attitude. Can you start Monday?" I said yes. I walked out of the office and cried in the street. I didn't care if anyone saw me. Something had changed. Something big. My first day at the new job felt like waking up after a long sleep. The office was small, just one room with 4 desks. I met my new boss, Clara. She was kind and patient. She spoke slowly, and I was thankful for that. The job was to help customers with questions. I didn't need perfect English. I just needed to listen, understand, and speak clearly. At first, I was afraid to answer the phone. My voice shook. But each time I spoke, it got easier. After work, I still studied. I didn't stop. I read short stories. I listened to podcasts. I practiced pronunciation with YouTube videos. One day at lunch, a new coworker sat with me. His name was Yusuf. He was from Turkey. He looked tired. "English hard," he said. I smiled. "Yes. It is hard. But not impossible." He looked at my notebook. "You study English?" "Yes. Every day," I said. He looked surprised. "Teach me." I paused. Then I nodded. "Okay. After work. 10 minutes. That evening, we sat in the break room. I opened my notebook. I showed him simple words. I helped him say them. "Apple," I said. "Apple," he tried. "No," I said, smiling. "Apple." Short sound. "Apple," he said again. "Better," I said. He laughed. I laughed too. It was fun. I didn't feel tired when I helped him. I felt strong. The next day, Yusuf brought his cousin. She worked in the same building. She said, "Can I join?" "Yes," I said. Soon, there were 3 of us. Every day after work, we sat together and learned. We talked about the weather. We practiced greetings. We played little games with words. I didn't feel like a teacher. I just shared what I knew. And I knew what they felt. The fear. The shame. The silence. I had lived in that silence for too long. Now I was breaking it. One night, I wrote in my journal, "Helping others is helping myself." Weeks passed. I was better at my job. My English was smoother. I didn't freeze on the phone anymore. Sometimes customers said, "You have a nice voice." That made me proud. Outside work, I started walking to a local library again. They had free English books. I read them out loud, quietly, in the corners. One day, the librarian saw me. Her name was Maria. "You come often," she said. "Yes," I replied. "I'm learning." She smiled. "You speak well." I said thank you. Then she asked, "Have you ever helped someone learn English?" I nodded. "Some friends at work." "Would you like to help more people?" she asked. "We have a small group here. Once a week. They need someone like you." I didn't know what to say. I was not a real teacher. But I remembered how I felt when I couldn't understand anything. I remembered the pain. The loneliness. I said, "Yes. I'd like to try." The next Wednesday, I stood in a small room with 5 people. One from Brazil. One from Ukraine. One from Egypt. 2 from China. They looked at me like I had the answers. I took a breath. "Hello," I said. "My name is Mark. I'm not a teacher. I'm just like you. I started learning English 1 year ago. If I can do it, so can you." I saw something in their eyes. Hope. I told them simple things, how I learned. What helped me. What didn't. We read one short story together. Slowly. One sentence at a time. They listened. They repeated. They laughed at their own mistakes. I laughed too. That night, I walked home smiling. It was the first time I felt useful in a long time. Teaching didn't make me rich. But it made me feel alive. Each week, more people came. They brought friends, cousins, neighbors. I didn't ask for money. I didn't need praise. I just wanted them to believe what I now knew. It's never too late to learn. Never too late to change. One evening, Yusuf came to class again. After the session, he said, "You know, Mark, you helped me speak English. Now, I got a new job. Better one." I looked at him. His eyes were full. "I couldn't do it without you," he said. I didn't know what to say. My throat felt tight. That night, I sat in my room. I looked at my old notebook. The first page still had the words I wrote that day long ago. "Hello. My name is Mark." Back then, I just wanted to feel human again. Now, I was helping others find their voice. I whispered to myself, in English, "Maybe, this is just the beginning." The days began to pass faster. I woke up with purpose. I went to work, I helped customers, and I smiled when I spoke. I still made mistakes, but they didn't scare me anymore. Each Wednesday evening, I went to the library. The group kept growing. 10 people, then 12, then 15. They came with notebooks, questions, and nervous smiles. We sat in a circle. We practiced small talk. "How are you?" "I'm fine, thank you." "And you?" We practiced talking about jobs, families, hobbies. Sometimes it was messy. Sometimes people laughed when they said something wrong. But I never let them feel embarrassed. Because I knew, making mistakes means you're trying. One night, after class, a young man named Omar stayed behind. He was always quiet. Always watching. "You speak English very well," he said to me, slowly. I thanked him. "You teach good," he added. I smiled. "I just share what helped me." He looked at me for a moment. "You were like me once." I nodded. "Yes. Exactly like you." He looked down at his notebook. "Sometimes. I feel stupid." I shook my head. "No. Never say that. You're learning. That's strong." He didn't say anything. But I saw his eyes. He understood. That night, as I walked home, I thought about all the people I had met in that room. They were from different countries. They spoke different first languages. But we were the same in one way. We all wanted to be seen. We all wanted to be heard. Language was not just about grammar or words. It was about freedom. It was about stepping out of the dark and saying, "I'm here. I matter." On Saturday mornings, I started going to a small cafe near my apartment. It was quiet, with soft jazz music and kind waiters. I sat near the window and read books in English. Sometimes I brought my laptop and wrote small lessons for my group. One day, a woman tapped my shoulder. "Excuse me," she said, "are you a teacher?" I smiled. "No. I just help people learn English." She looked surprised. "Oh. I saw your notes. They're very clear. Very kind." I thanked her. She sat at the next table. We didn't speak again. But when she left, she smiled and said, "Keep going." That felt nice. By now, my life was simple. I had my job. My classes. My walks to the park. The library. The cafe. I had no big dreams. I didn't think about the past much. I didn't wonder where Sarah was. Or if my old friends remembered me. I didn't need to. I was no longer lost. One afternoon, I got a message on my phone. It was from Clara, my boss. "Come see me in the office at 4, she wrote. I walked in, heart beating faster. Was something wrong? Clara looked up and smiled. "Mark, relax. Sit down." I sat. "I want to talk about your work," she said. "You've been doing well. Very well. We had some great feedback from customers. They say you're patient and helpful." I smiled. "Thank you. And more than that," she said, "I heard you're helping some of the staff with English." I nodded. "Just after work. Only a little." She leaned forward. "I like that. A lot. So. I have a question for you." I waited. "Would you be open to leading a small language support group here? Just once a week. For our employees. You'd be paid extra, of course." I stared at her. "You mean, teach here? At work?" "Yes. Just simple things. Speaking, listening, maybe writing emails. You'd be great at it. My hands felt warm. I tried to keep my voice calm. I'd love that, I said. She smiled. Good. Let's try it next month. When I left her office, I sat in the stairwell for a moment. I closed my eyes. I thought about the man I used to be. Sitting in a dark room. Scared of everything. Scared of speaking. Scared of trying. And now I was being asked to teach. I whispered one word to myself. Unbelievable. But it was real. Everything had changed, not in one day, but slowly. Through tiny choices. Through showing up. Through helping others even when I was still healing. I stood up, took the stairs down, and walked out into the street. The sky was soft blue. People were talking, laughing, moving. The world was the same. But I was not. Not anymore. The next few months passed like a gentle wind. Quiet, but full of change. I led the first English session at work one Thursday afternoon. 5 co-workers came. Yusuf was there, of course. Beside him, 2 women from accounting. 1 man from the warehouse. A new girl from the front desk. I stood at the whiteboard and held a marker. For a second, my hands trembled. But when I looked at them, I didn't see judgment. I saw hope. I saw curiosity. I wrote a question, how was your day? Then I smiled. And I spoke. That day, we laughed a lot. Someone said, I eat the phone, instead of, I answer the phone. We made jokes about it all class. But we also learned. I showed them simple ways to answer phone calls in English. We practiced saying polite greetings. After the class, Clara came over. They liked it, she said. They're already asking when the next one is. So I kept doing it. Every week. It became a part of my job, part of my rhythm. And as I helped others speak, I spoke more myself. Not just in English. I spoke with confidence. I started raising my voice in meetings. I shared my thoughts, not just my tasks. One Friday, Clara called me again to her office. She said, Mark, I've been thinking. We have a new position. Training assistant. You'd help new staff, especially those with weak English. You'd work closely with HR. I didn't blink. I didn't freeze. I said, yes. I want it. She smiled. Then it's yours. I left the office shaking a little, but not from fear. From joy. I had never dreamed of something like this. But it was happening, step by step, word by word. Outside work, I still went to the library every Wednesday. The group was bigger now. I didn't lead all the time anymore. Some students took turns. Sometimes we just spoke in English about our lives. We read short stories. We watched small videos. We even acted out funny scenes from books. It wasn't a class anymore. It was a family. And one day, something unexpected happened. After class, Maria, the librarian, came up to me. There's a new volunteer program starting, she said. We're looking for someone to help create an online video series for English learners. Very basic. Simple lessons. I think you'd be perfect. I felt something inside me pause. A new path opening. She said, it's not much. A small project. But it could help people. People who can't come to the library. I nodded slowly. Yes. I'd love to help. That weekend, I recorded my first video. It was nothing special. Just me, sitting at a small table, saying simple greetings into the camera. Hello. My name is Mark. I'm learning English. You can learn too. I uploaded it to the library's YouTube page. At first, only a few views. Then 10. Then 50. After 2 weeks, 100 people had watched it. That made me smile. Sometimes, I'd walk home after work and imagine someone far away, someone like me, a year ago, watching that video, saying those same simple words for the first time. It felt like magic. By now, my apartment didn't feel empty anymore. I had a small shelf full of English books. I had my notebooks, filled with words and ideas. I had a message board where I pinned small goals. My walls had changed. And so had I. I still had no partner. Still no car. Still no big bank account. But I had peace. And something better. I had purpose. One evening, I sat on the park bench where I used to listen to strangers speak English. The sun was low. Children were playing nearby. A couple walked past, speaking Spanish. Then two tourists sat on the bench across from me. They were speaking English. I understood every word. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Then I pulled out my phone. Opened my notes. Wrote something quickly. A sentence. One simple line. Language is the bridge between silence and the world. That night, I added it to the beginning of a new video lesson. It became my message to every student. A few weeks later, I got an email. A stranger from another country. She wrote, "Hello Mark. I watched your video. I am 48 years old. I never believed I could speak English. But your words helped me try. Thank you." I sat there in my small room, staring at her message. 1 year ago, I was lying in the dark. Afraid. Lost. Now a woman far away was saying thank you. It didn't feel real. But it was. It was all real. I turned off the light. Sat by the window. The world outside was quiet. Inside, my heart was full. And for the first time in a long time, I whispered, not to myself, but to the world. I'm proud of me. And I meant it.